Hello and welcome again to Safe Code. So today we will be learning CRUD in ASP.NET framework. So let's begin. So we need to open Visual Studio. Have with me Visual Studio 2019. So we need to create a new project. And in today's project, let me just explain a little bit about today's project. We'll be creating departments and employees. So an employee will be tied to departments, and we will be listing employees, a list of employees. We will be searching a specific employee, and we will also be searching an employees in a given department. Then we will be updating and delete. It's literally CRUD in ASP.NET MVC. Welcome. So let's select an .NET MVC project. So here it is, .ASP.NET Web Application .NET Framework. Choose that and next. Let's go to next. So I'll be calling my project employees. Employees, yes, employees. So let's click at MVC and create the project. So let's wait for the project to load. As it loads, I should be entertaining you. So we have our project here. So we can run the project and see how it looks how the project looks. So here is our project. So this is how it looks. So we'll be creating our project here. Next, we need to connect our project to the database, and we'll be using addo.net. You should create an instance. So we'll be using that instance to create our database. We need new database, and let's call it YouTube test. YouTube project. YouTube project, and add exactly. So we need two tables, and in those tables, let's create our first table, which is the department table. We need ID, which should be int, and let's set it to primary key, and then allow identity specification. We need to know the date added, each time. This is important, and we need to know the department name. Which is voucher, maybe 50. You can change that. What else do we need from this? I think those are the vital items which we need, and also department name should not be done. That's it. So let's save this and call it departments. So we can refresh to see our table. There it is. Then let's create another table which is employees. So we need ID, which should be int, and as the other one, let's put it to be primary key, and it should we should allow edit to this specification. Also the date added, date added column is important. It should be date time. Also we should add the employee first name, F name, which should be voucher 50, and then second name. For this instance we just need to, should be voucher 50. Then we need the date of birth, DOB, which is date time. We also need what else do we need from employees? The ID number, which should be int in our case here. We should also need what else do we need from employees? We might also need the phone number. So phone number might need be a phone number. So this I just give it to be voucher. So and maybe the email address, email voucher. So we need to link an employee to the department, which we will have a dep ID here, which should be int, and then link this to every employee should be linked to a specific department add, and then we have the three dots, then departments, select department, and ID should be mapped to dep ID. That's right, I think. Yeah, okay. Then let's save this table. Let's name it employees. And yes, we should save that. So at this instance, now we will be creating an Ado.NET to connect models in our Visual Studio to the database. So this is how we create the Ado.NET new item. Then we will need to be at the Ado.NET model. Let's name our model. Let's call it the employees model. Employees model. Then we need to create the entity framework designer from database. We have the code first and the others, but now we need from database so that it will pick the items in the database and then create a model for us. We don't need the code first. Code first is the other way. Yeah? So it's from the code, we code the models, then paste to the database. So we need the entity framework designer. Then next, so let's create a new connection to our database. So let's see what we have here. We need an SQL server. We are using an SQL server. So let's search for our server. Search for our server. Yeah, that's right. Here we are. So our instance is the SQL. The other one, let's pick the SQL, and we do some authentication to use with Windows authentication. And then let's pick our databases which we want them to be we need to use. So here is our database, YouTube project. Then okay, and next, yes, I want to use 6. You can pick any. So the tables, here are our tables. We need employees and departments. So we need all tables in that database. And next, then finish. Let's say it create the model for us. Okay. Iyo, ayo, nayo. Iyo, 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 ayo, nayo. Iyo, ayo, nayo. Iyo. Okay. So here are our here is our model. Then let's save that. Let's go to our controller. So we want to list the items. We want to list no, first we want to save an employee to the database. So let's click to and open our view. We can just delete this. We can just entirely delete that and this. So we can just change the title, call it employees, and now here we need a form and need a table. And the method here should be post, and the action should be at URL action. Then so here we need our controller and the action result. Let's call it save employees. This is the action result we'll be using to save the employees. And now here table data. So we need first name. Let's save the fields we inputted in our database, our employees database. So I think we should start with we should start by saving the department, and let's start with the department. So save the department. Save department. So we need its name, department name, and here table data. We need an input of, so we need name. We need to name it as exactly we named it here, which is department name. So we might use a class tn, and no, not tn, text. So, and we might name a type. So what type of text is this? What of type input is this? So we need text input. It gives us to input text. Then we need a saving button, which will save this data. So button, and then let's call it save. Then of this class button primary, then the type is submit, don't forget that. And let's create this in our controller, save department, go to the home controllers. So let's create, we want to post, so http post, then create a saving action. So this is how we create it, public action result, action 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 result, then the name, the action. Then here we need the table where we want to save the data. Where do we want to save? Department, as you can see. And let's initialize department as data. Then we need to return something. So what do we want to return? When we save, we might want to redirect it to our index view. So let's say redirect to action, then let's copy this index. We want it to redirect to that index. So here there are some things which will happen. So we need to data, the initialization of departments, then we need to add the date added because we never captured that in our index. As you can see in our index, we just captured the department name. So we need to capture the date added. How do we capture date added? We just say date time dot now. That will capture our date added. Then we need to initialize our model, if you can remember our model and entities. So we just need to call our add.net entity. So let's call our YouTube entities. That's our entity. And then we can refer it as db, then new. We are just actually initializing entity. So this entity holds all our tables in the database which we created. So over here, let's call our entity dot. Now we need to save in department, there. Then in department, we need to add the data from the view and our data here, just data. Then we just need to db dot save changes. And that's all for us. That's create. So let's load it. Let's load our project. Ayo nayo. Ayo nayo. Ayo nayo. So this is our index. So let's try to save a department like ICT and save dish. Let's look in our DB and see what we have. Select. Let's select and see what we have. And voila, our department is there. So that's how you create and save into the database. Thank you guys. We'll be meeting next time to create the employees. Have a nice one.